Deportiva y con swing.
Deportiva y con swing.
La factoría del deporte desde New York para ti. Es una máquina.
Es una máquina
Pensada para ti.
pensada para ti. Número uno en las redes, dale like y compartir.
Con informaciones importantes siempre frescas.
Y con entrevistas que te ponen de cabeza.
Lo mejor del deporte lo encontrarás aquí.
Búscale en las redes, dale like y compartir.
Suscríbete,
Ay sí,
infórmate.
ok. Dale a la campana para que te llegue.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to have everyone here. Today, of course, we are pleased to have with us Paul O'Neill, who on August 21st will become the 23rd Yankees player or manager to have his number retired. Before we get going, a few items of housekeeping. This call is not permitted to be broadcast live or rebroadcast in its entirety from a recording. However, clips may be used. As usual, please use the raise hand function to get in the queue to ask your questions. We'll post a recording of the Zoom following conclusion. And as a reminder, as in our previous calls with Cash and Aaron Boone and Dylan Lawson, actually, scratch that. We'll just go on to, we can actually take questions in a moment. Paul, first, congratulations. It is great to have you here. And we can begin if anyone wants to put their hand up. We'll start with Bruce Beck.
Paul, congratulations. I think Paul's muted.
Paul, hit unmute and you'll be good to go.
All right, we got
Perfect.
settled.
All
All
good.
right. Hey, Bruce, how are you?
Hey, good, Paul. Congratulations. Do you embrace the nickname, the Warrior, and how would you define it?
You know what? As soon as that came out, and it came out from Mr. Steinbrenner, it was almost embarrassing at the time because you're still playing. You embrace it much more when you don't have to prove anything on the field anymore. So, yeah, and it just, again, it was something that was brought out by Mr. Steinbrenner at a certain time. And, you know, obviously it was a compliment, and I take it as that now.
But how do you look at it in terms of defining the way that you played?
Well, I think certain people are just wired certain ways. I mean, you know, every at bat, every game, every World Series meant a lot to me. I mean, ever since I started playing sports against my older brothers, you know, it was about winning and losing. It wasn't about how you played. It's who won and who lost. And that is basically, you know, how I played my career. And that's why it was so much fun playing in that stretch of the late 90s where winning almost seemed natural, and it just you took it for granted. And now you look back, and I look back, especially being part of those teams, on how hard it is to continually win. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do in professional sports.
We can take the next question from Lou DiPietro.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. So the core four, Joe Torre, Bernie Williams, now you, that's 6 players in the manager from those dynasty years that are now retired numbers and trying to money work. What does it mean to be with all of those guys? You know, you mentioned how hard it is to consistently win, but there's 6 of you plus your skipper who are now, you know, enshrined forever in history.
Well, you know, that obviously makes it much more special because of the guys that have gone before you. But when you look out at Monument Park and the names that are involved, even before those guys, it's just, you know, these things happen with every team. But when they happen with the Yankees and the, you know, the history and the names that go along with it, it's kind of mind blowing. But, you know, I love the fact that, you know, you're just associated with that team, and everybody might say, hey, that's a lot of people. But, you know, a lot of good things happened in the short period of time there. You know, to win 4 World Series in 5 years, you know, when's that going to happen again? So, you know, I'm proud to be associated with those teams, and especially the guys that are part of those teams that are out in Monument Park right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul.
We'll take the next one from Nate Macaborski from Yankees Magazine.
Hi, Paul. Congratulations.
Thank you, Nate.
When you come to the Yankees and you start playing in Yankee Stadium, you see those retired numbers behind the wall back there. I mean, did you ever imagine that you would see number 21 back there someday? And what does it mean just to be part of those legends that came long before your time in New York?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first thing that I noticed when I was traded over from Cincinnati was the history and the pride of Yankees. And, I had the opportunity to meet Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra and have a relationship with Whitey Ford and talks. And it's just like those are great memories for me. And you never put yourself in a position where you ever think that you're going to achieve something that those great players before you did. And to have something like this, I mean, many times playing and now even doing games in the booth, you look up at that wall at those numbers and they're associated with certain names. And to believe, to have that, to look up there at some point and see a 21 that means so much to me, definitely the highest honor that I can think that happened to me. And I can't thank the Yankees enough.
We'll take the next one from Kevin Mayer from News 12 Long Island.
Paul, like everybody else, congratulations. Is there a story behind why you wore number 21?
Well, I was given 21 when I was with the Reds. I was fortunate enough to have 21 basically my whole career. The story where it started, where I kind of thought it was cool, was the first Major League Baseball game that I ever went to. And my father, we were at Crosley Field in Cincinnati, and my father posted me or put me in a direction where number 21 for the Pittsburgh Pirates was in the background, being Roberto Clemente. And I just thought, wow, this is where I kind of got associated with this cool number. When I received the number in Cincinnati, that's the first thing that came to my mind was, wow, that was Roberto Clemente's number. And there's a baseball card out. I still have the picture. And that's kind of where this number kind of became special to me.
Thanks.
We'll take the next one from Yes Network colleague Jack Curry.
Hey, Paul, congratulations again on this honor. I'm wondering, in the time that you've had to absorb this, what's been the most impactful thing anyone has said to you about what this means? Whether it was a family member, a former teammate, a friend, has anyone said something about this honor that has stopped you in your tracks?
Yeah, I mean, my kids especially. It's really hard to let it all sink in, and it really, I mean, every single day I wake up and I said, does this really happen? I mean, I really, it means that much. And, we had our first grandchild and we got another one on the way. And, your kids will say, can you imagine that number at some point we could tell that you wore that number? And, that kind of really hit you because, I'm kind of new at this grandfather thing. So to have something to kind of pass on. And again, these are things that you never would even dream about. When you're playing the game, you don't think about these things. You think about getting a hit, or you think about hitting a home run, but those kind of go away. This, to me, now that I think about it, every single time I go in Yankee Stadium, when that number goes up, it won't go away. And that's, the cool thing about it is, you sign a contract. Hey, you still have to prove this or prove that out on the field. You just get to enjoy this. You just get to look at this number and know that, there was a generation of people that associated my name with that number. And that to me is very special.
So number 21 is retired for any future player. What are the ground rules on onesies with number 21 on them?
I think we already have a couple of those in the family pictures. And it was funny. I was talking to Michael Kay the other day, and he said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm going to do the last game before the game. I'm going to do it in your jersey, number 21." I said, "That's basically you, Michael. You always get the last time. You will be the last person to wear 21." So that's how that stood.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
We'll go to Brian Hope from Yankees.com.
Hey, Paul, congratulations. I'm wondering about the first time you ever went out to Monument Park. Was that when you were a player? Did you get to spend much time out there?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that first time where you go out and, some of the names just hit home. I mean, there's no, everybody, the first thing you look is for Babe Ruth, and then you see Lou Gehrig, and then all of a sudden you kind of graduate to the people that you have just met, and Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle, and these iconic names just continue to go on with the Yankees. And that's why this happening with the Yankees is so special, because just to have your number kind of mixed in with some of the greats that ever play the game. I believe me, I continue to say the thing. It's the highest honor that I think I've ever been given in baseball.
So your first time, would that have been in '93 after the trade, or did you go before that?
Yeah, it was after I became a Yankee. It was like kind of a calling. Once you walked in that stadium, it was like, you know what, I got to go see this. I've heard about the monuments. I've heard about Monument Park. I got to go see this. And so, it was in the old stadium, and going behind the center field wall and seeing those plaques, and obviously the stories and the written things on the plaques kind of brings it all home, because that's where those things happen in the Yankee Stadium.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll take the next one from John Schwartz from Yankees Magazine.
Hey, Paul, congratulations. Obviously, you've been in Monument Park for a while now at this point. There's a really heavy, bronze plaque for you there. How in your mind are these two honors different? What is the difference in your mind between getting a plaque in Monument Park and having your number retired?
Well, this is just a different game to me. I mean, the plaque was such an honor to start with, but then all of a sudden, I mean, there's that special area where numbers were put up there. And like I said, some of the names that go with the numbers, and just, to know that 21 won't be worn in Yankee Stadium is such an honor. It's just, I don't really know how to explain it. It's been 2 or 3 days. And again, it's on my mind all day. It just keeps replaying over and over again, just how cool this is.
We'll take the next one from Tom Merriam.
Paul, congratulations. What were you thinking over the years of the ceremonies for your teammates whose numbers were retired? And also, did you find it strange that 21 wasn't given out, except I believe briefly to LaTroy Hawkins many years ago?
Well, that was a weird thing. I was actually calling that game when that incident happened, but I was proud to watch other guys, Derek Jeter and Mariano and Pettit and Posada, watch their numbers go in there, and they were very deserving. I mean, those guys were part, like I said earlier, part of a run that we don't know when it's going to happen again, or if it's going to happen again. I mean, in professional sports, to put together those kind of runs and those, those type of people all of a sudden come together, and Mr. Steinbrenner keeping those teams together. I mean, it gave us opportunities, and that's not always, doesn't always equate into winning World Series, but, it did at that time. And again, I was just, it was amazing to me that people come up, talk to me, and associate me as part of those teams. I mean, it's such an honor to be known as part of those teams of the late 90s.
We'll take the next one from Matthew Roberson from the New York Daily News.
Hi, Paul. Can you tell us how you found out your number was being retired and how the team broke the news to you?
Yeah, I had worked out. I was coming home. I was eating breakfast. I got a call from Debbie Timon, who, I speak to once in a while anyway with, functions and things. And it wasn't an immediate thing. We were having a conversation. And then she broke me the news. I basically kind of dropped the phone. My wife got in tears, and she told me that Hal Steinbrenner would be calling me, which he did later in the day. And it's a day that I won't forget, because just how my kids took it, my wife took it, my whole family. And the importance of something like this when you're out of the game and what it means to the people around you, it made it that much more special.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We can take a next one from Eric Bolin from Newsday.
Well, how do you explain the connection that you had with Yankee fans and still very much have with them as a fan favorite?
I don't know that I had heard on a show that a big reason of this was because the backing of the fans. And if that's true, all I can do is be thankful. And I've always have been thankful to the New York fans, and they've treated me unbelievable. So, both as a player and up in the booth, calling games. It's just still to this day, there's not a day that goes by that I don't see somebody or in the weight room or at a restaurant that wants to talk about the past and talk about what the Yankees are doing now. And that's the cool thing about the Yankees. It doesn't matter where you are. It's not just in New York. It's this whole country of fans that have followed this team and the tradition. And I can't emphasize enough how much this organization has meant to me and my family, and what's happened in the last 20 some years.
Thanks, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
We can take the next question. Again, we'll go back to John Schwartz.
Hey, Paul, obviously there's a tradition, history of some players honoring some of the players they love by wearing their number. You hear about a lot of young shortstops who came up wearing number 2 for Derek Jeter and things like that. Obviously, once you get your number retired, no Yankee can come up wearing 21. But over the course of your career, have you heard of any players for any team that might have worn 21 in your honor?
There was a player for the Pirates I got a call about this year that his father was a bbig fan and named his son. I think he's one of their prospects. But I've always been amazed doing games that you look down and you see some people obviously with 21 on, even in away games, and it means a lot because it just goes to show you that that some people liked you as a player. Obviously there's a lot of 99s out there now. There was a ton of number 2s back when I played. So, this day and age, when you can associate yourself with numbers and players, there's always kind of like a little chuckle every time I see a number 21 kind of walking around the ballpark. It does mean a lot.
Anyone else for Paul? Okay. Paul, thank you very much for joining us. This was great. Really appreciate it. Any of the media on the call, if you need anything, we are in the office. We'll be posting this shortly on our Dropbox and on Pressbox. Again, reach out if you need anything. Paul, thank you and congratulations. We'll see you August 21st, but we'll also see you before that.
I hope we got a baseball game by then, right?
We all do. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Reach out if you need anything. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Saludos, Oniel Batista, la máquina deportiva, te quedaste.